Now from IBM, the country general manager of Pakistan and Afghanistan is joining us too. So a very warm welcome for Gantzafar Ali. He is in the house, Mr. Gantzafar Ali.
Dear Tech.
Dear Tech.
Dear Tech.
Let's talk.
We have a pretty good relationship.
I love my smartphone.
And yes, I'm probably on it more than I should be.
I love my apps.
I love developing apps.
I love the way that you help me connect.
Dear Tech.
You've done a lot of good for the world.
But I feel like you have the potential to do so much more.
We're facing some big challenges. How do we better protect our natural resources?
And better respond to natural disasters.
How do we bake security into everything we do?
I want all my data to be protected.
I need a cloud that talks to my other clouds.
I need tech that works at scale.
Dear Tech, are you working for all of us or just a few of us?
Can we build AI without bias?
AI that fights bias.
AI that helps us see the bias in ourselves?
We need tech that helps people understand each other.
That understands my business.
Dear Tech.
Here's the thing.
It starts with people.
It starts with me.
It starts with me.
I would like to make open source software the standard.
I'm teaching the next generation of coders.
We're working to help make sure your food is fresh and safe to eat.
That what you buy isn't a knockoff or from a sweatshop.
We're helping people take the turbulence out of air travel.
We're working on smarter ways to help people manage their diabetes.
We're doing the hard work.
And we need your help.
We need your support.
To make a difference in people's lives.
Dear Tech.
Dear Tech. Dear Tech.
Let's help make a difference in finance.
Let's make a difference in retail.
In telecommunications, insurance,
and healthcare.
Let's make a difference in government,
the environment,
and society.
Let's develop new solutions with the help of quantum technology.
QUANTUM. Quantum.
Let's use IoT to help victims of natural disasters.
Let's use blockchain to help reduce poverty.
Let's show girls that STEM isn't just a boys' club.
Let's champion data rights as human rights.
We have the power to do so much.
Let's do it all.
together.
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 Let's expect more from technology.
Let's put smart to work.
Good afternoon. So the most profound impact technology has created, and we always forget about it when we talk about all the changes which first industrial revolution or second industrial revolution has brought, is technology has created a more human-centric world around us. And that has changed the game forever. So now you see all the technological advantages or advances which we have made as industry or as humanity. It has made the world more human-centric. Now, when the world goes human-centric, it has created a new paradigm, a new normal. In the new normal, the old business models are getting obsolete. They are no more relevant. The first thing I will talk about 4 things today. The first thing is, what are the new business models? The second thing is, how do you build those business models and what do you need? So, in this era of technology, one thing which has fundamentally changed is the basic equation of any industry or any business. We have moved from productivity to creativity. We have moved from output to outcomes. Because of all the technology benefits, it's easy to create more things. And if you see what happened over the period of last 10 years, these 5 platforms have created $2.7 trillion of value by just reinventing the ways of work. They have not, you don't know these platforms with the things which they produce. They created a more human-centric, a more customer-centric world and attracted all the value to themselves. So what did they use? They created a platform strategy. And platform strategy as they say, it's very simple. You connect the supply with demand and take the friction out. You have a platform which is far-reaching, it's inclusive, and it gives you enough data and enough scale to go further on. It doesn't mean that you move from a brick-and-mortar model to digital model or digital model to brick-and-mortar model, because if you see, when Amazon finished all the big retail stores in the US, they came up with Amazon Go, and now they are coming up with Amazon libraries and other features as well. So now the new normal or the new way of going digital is not about taking your existing product set and converting it to a digital offering. It's about creating a new model where you create digital platforms, and with digital platforms, you connect the supply and demand side with the minimum friction. So, and the same thing, the experiences which were created in the commercial world has transformed the world for the businesses as well as the government. So now people are not talking about government in terms of what digital services I can get or what digital services I cannot get. It has become a conversation of government working as a platform. And modern economies, if you have taken their charts 5 years ago, technology was at the base as enabler, as a foundation. Now, if you see the vision of the modern economies, it has changed from enabler or foundation player to the core differentiator. So you see, take the example of Singapore. Now their core is digital. Take the example of Dubai. The core is digital. So technology has come from the background to the forefront. So if you don't have a technology platform or technology strategy which is ahead of business, or the business which is lying on technology, you will reach nowhere. So let's reimagine Pakistan. The problem with Pakistan is, and we have had wonderful sessions this morning, and I was delighted to see the commitment from the ministers that they think the technology is the way out. Our problems have grown bigger than our size. We don't have enough resources as government. We don't have enough resources as individual businesses to solve some critical problems. The only way we can go after them is to create an ecosystem or platform where all the resources which are available, whether in the government or private sector, they come together and solve these problems. Look at our financial system. Right now, with all the efforts, our financial system has a depth of 30%. So we have just reached 30% of our population taking whatever view you want to take in terms of financial inclusion, in terms of basic financial services. And our basic financial service is just opening an account. And our financial system right now is working in a way that they take money from the common people, either lend it to the government or lend it to the people who already have capital. So if we want to break the barrier, we cannot break the barrier by just digitizing different stuff. We cannot break the barrier by putting more data analytics on it. We have to change the strategy altogether and build a new DNA for the financial system. Similarly, take the example of healthcare. Our healthcare right now is designed as come-to-me system. You get ill, you go to hospital. You have finite resources, very limited resources with the government to solve the healthcare problems until we create a platform where all the health givers, its ecosystem, pharmacists, insurance provider, get on a platform and reach everybody individually. It will not change the outcome significantly. So we have to think, if we have to reimagine Pakistan, we have to reimagine or imagine the inimaginable in Pakistan, then the technology is the way to solve our core problems. So this is where we have reached already. And if you compare where we have, or the problems which we have, and the kind of digitization we have done, we already feel that we are far behind. But that's not enough. The world is going to change, and it will change much faster because now we are getting into quantum era. The problem we had that although all the technological advantages and the computing power which we generated, we were still not able to solve as industry some basic problems. So that's why it took longer time for medical research, average 7 years, to come from lab to actuality. Because the formulas which were calculated behind were not actual. They were estimations. Then when they were going beyond certain limits, computers were not able to solve them. With quantum, that problem is going to be solved very soon. 2019 is declared as year of quantum computing. IBM has launched its quantum computer. Google has launched its quantum offerings already. So what it will give to industry or to the general businesses, that the problems in other industries, now compare IT industry with other industries. The amount of development which IT has done over the last 30 years and compare it with automotive, airline, other industries. This was not happening there because there were some basic problems which technology was not able to compute. That's going to change. So research will come faster, new materials will be developed, new industries will be coming in, new efficiency models will be created, new security levels will be created through quantum computing, which will be unbreakable. So while we have not able to cope up what has been going on so far, the world will go further complex going from here. So that's the first piece. So second piece is about data. And we always say that, we had a conversation in the morning about data and the mining of data and stuff like that. The reality is, if you are in any business, right now we are mining only 2% of the data which is available to us. Because as things changed, now computers are able to understand image, emotion, voice, everything. And that data has a lot of value. And most of the companies are struggling to get value out of that data. And the reason is multifold. But before I go there, we think that AI is a solution, but AI brings its own challenge too. And the first challenge is bias of AI. And this will remain a huge challenge going forward. The first and most common example we hear about AI bias is fake news and the fake content which is being generated and further pushed to different users. The second piece is responsible data stewardship, which means who owns data, who keeps data, how they utilize it. And the third is how AI is being developed at enterprise level. So these three are very serious challenges which we are facing as society, we are facing as technology industry, and we are facing as enterprise businesses. Now, and the biggest example you see in AI is personal shopping. You go to any platform, you are made to believe that you are getting the best offer. Effectively, what they're selling you is the best they got. So they don't go to all the platforms available or all the websites available and bring the best of it. So you are booking on a hotel site, it will show you there are only 20 hotels available here, and out of that, this is the cheapest one. It's a biased view, right? So IBM has built a fabric which creates a more user-centric view, which takes your attribute, goes to all platforms, and then brings back you the data which is unbiased by the platform. And we are not stopping ourselves there. We are going to the next level, which is this. how do you get AI right? 4 steps. Build the right information architecture so that you can absorb the data quickly. In order to help that, we are building a technology which will require less data to train AI. The second, build the right governance and stewardship, because you will not be exposed to the laws in the country, you will be exposed to the global laws. The third thing is, AI is not about chatbots, it's not about small intervention, it's about major intervention in your business. So you have to build AI across your business units. And the last one is focus on outcomes. So if you want to get your AI right, these are the 4 areas where you have to look into. And the last piece from technology side, which you need to look into, is how do you get as agile as most of the disruptors are. So what's happening, the new companies which are coming from cloud, they are on the right side. They take small services, functionality, capability available in dispersed location from cloud, and they create an offering. If you see the enterprise side, we are being hostage of the big applications, big core banking systems, big ERPs, big stuff, right? Until and unless we break our big building blocks and create microservices-like architecture and start rebuilding and recreating the outcomes, we will not be as successful as the new companies are. So from business side, the world is moving towards a different functionality or different architecture. And that architecture will not only reside on one type of internal backbone. So the world is moving towards multi-cloud world where you have something on-prem, something on cloud, and you should have the capability to go across it. That's where IBM has spent $34 billion in acquiring a company called Red Hat to make sure that IBM provides the industry a multi-cloud world with an openness and security to go across. And in this infrastructure, the last thing will be how your infrastructure is data ready. Because if your business models are being built on data and you don't have infrastructure which is able to handle the data, you will slow down your progress. And the most important thing which is happening across many industries is skills. Our contracts with our employers are going to change. You will have lifelong employment if you are committed to do lifelong learning. Most of the companies have changed their employment strategies. Degree is no more an automatic criteria to get into the companies. 1/3 of our centers in US are being manned by employees who don't have degrees. So we are going after skills. And similar things are happening in big enterprises across the planet. So you will be asked to possess certain skills to stay in the job. The concept of micro degrees, the concept of mentoring, and all these things are coming fast. So 4 things. Think new business models in disrupted and most importantly, quantum world. Use data as competitive advantage, but build it right. Build an agile infrastructure at the back end so that you can compete with the new players. And acquire skills at the pace of their requirements. Remember, technology should work for the people, not the other way around. And here is the way how you do it.
While we're watching this wonderful video here, still to inspire us, and indeed, lots of great work there. If I could call Aga Zafar Abbas to the stage, if he is in the house, Mr. Abbas. Zafar, where are you? Oh, okay. And if I might please call back to the stage, my dear Bruce. Bruce, come join us, it's easier for me. So, gentlemen, thank you so much. Thank you both for that great presentation. And we want to now give you a token of our appreciation. This beautiful book on Pakistan which I've had a quick glimpse of, and it's absolutely wonderful. Now, while we're getting some photos put in place, I have a favor to ask of you all, please. Now, I know how attached we are to our mobile phones. We absolutely, positively love them. And I'm glad to see we're trending on social media and tweet out to everybody out there some of the great work that's going on here and the great advancements.